Dr. Mitra's roots in education are deeply entangled with self-organizing systems that derived from his background in physics. His PhD in theoretical solid-state physics of organic semiconductors is from the Indian Institute of Technology in Delhi. He also has a Master of Science in Physics from the Indian Institute of Technology in Delhi. He obtained a Bachelor of Science in Physics from the Jadavpur University in Calcutta, and he also has an Indian School Certificate from the University of Cambridge. Now, you might ask yourself, what does a physicist have to do with instructional technology and self-organized learning environments? Well, a lot really. It all began with a hole in the wall between Dr. Mitra's office and an Indian slum in Kalkaji, Delhi. Watching the impoverished children, thinking how they would never own a computer, never work in an office, and wouldn't ever know what the internet was, he began to question.
At the same time, we also had lots of parents, rich people, who had computers, and who used to tell me, my son, I think he's gifted, because, he does wonderful things with computers. And my daughter, surely she's, extra intelligent, and so on. So I suddenly figured that how come all the rich people are having these extraordinarily gifted children? What did the poor do wrong?
So Dr. Mitra began a series of field experiences based on the idea, or rather the question, that if given a computer and in the absence of an instructor, could children learn on their own? After repeated attempts and regardless of socio-political economics, children demonstrated that when given a computer as a resource, they could self-organize and learn, and often at faster rates than children in traditional environments. Identifying this concept, Dr. Mitra then went on to suggest,
but we don't even know what the jobs of the future are going to look like. We know that people will work from wherever they want, whenever they want, in whatever way they want. How is present-day schooling going to prepare them for that world?
Since the beginning of Dr. Mitra's research in self-organized learning environments, many teachers and education advocates have joined the global experiment in self-organized learning. In schools, in slums, in homes, and under the stars, children worldwide are self-organizing, and with the encouragement and support of what Dr. Mitra calls the method of the grandmother, they are taking control of their own future. So does that mean then that schools as we know it are obsolete?
So that's a pretty strong comment there. I said schools as we know them now, they're obsolete. I'm not saying they're broken. It's quite fashionable to say that the education system's broken. It's not broken. It's wonderfully constructed. It's just that we don't need it anymore. It's outdated.
Dr. Mitra argues that we don't need to know how to write well, any more than we need calligraphy. It is an art, but it is not a necessity of learning. And yet we continue to teach what we needed a decade ago, not tomorrow. Perhaps then we, the uncertain educators, need to focus education on the individual. Problem-based learning that allows students to determine the ways to the means from whenever and wherever they are. This then calls for the question of our generation.
Could it be a devastating question, a question that was framed for me by Nicholas Negroponte? Could it be that we are heading towards, or maybe in, a future when knowing is obsolete? But that's terrible. We are Homo sapiens. Knowing, that's what distinguishes us from the apes. But look at it this way. It took nature 100 million years to make the ape stand up and become Homo sapiens. It took us only 10,000 to make knowing obsolete. What an achievement that is. But we have to integrate that into our own future.
Self-organized learning environments have the potential to change how we think, how we educate, and how we better prepare our children for the uncertain future ahead. It is learning on the cloud. I argue then that Dr. Sugata Mitra has unquestionably earned the privilege of induction into the Instructional Technology Hall of Fame, and I thank you very much for your vote.